This is the plaintiff, Kyle Furlong. He says he and two other people agreed to rent an apartment together, but unfortunately the deal fell through and they missed out. The defendant received a refund check from the landlord and the sneak skipped out without reimbursing him, and he's owed $1,850, the amount he's suing for. This is the defendant, Nadia. She says the plaintiff changed his mind at the last minute, then backed out of the deal. She was unable to afford the apartment on her own, so the landlord sent them a refund check. She doesn't remember the amount, but the plaintiff disappeared, never contacted her, and she doesn't feel she owes anything because she was left in the lurch by the plaintiff and was forced to live in her car. She's accused of skipping out.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff says he agreed to rent an apartment with the defendant, but the deal fell through. The defendant pocketed the check. The defendant says because of him, she had to live in her car. It's the case of you take the fun out of refunds.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're
Okay,
welcome.
Mr. Furlong, you are suing. You want to be referred to only by your middle name, Nadia, for $1,850 that you paid her as a deposit for an apartment that folks didn't end up taking.
Yes.
What happened?
So we had put down the deposit for the apartment.
How did you two meet?
We met at a Whole Foods work event. We were both selling product at this event and realized that we were both on an apartment hunt. I just moved to New York in June. We met around mid-July, and I'd just been offered a full-time job with the company I was interning with, so I was looking for a place to live, and she was in a similar situation. So we started apartment hunting, and she had met someone through a mutual friend that we were looking with as well. It was really just us two going to places. I'd never met the other guy, and she hadn't either. We just corresponded with him a little bit. We found a place that we thought was perfect. Nadia and I went and got $500 out of the bank each, so that was $1,000 that we put down to initially reserve it. Unfortunately, there was a group of guys that also looked at the apartment right after us, and they got their deposit in minutes before us, so we weren't able to secure the apartment. And they returned our check to us, and I'd been in contact with Matt, our broker, and he said that the check was ready. It was in Nadia's name because they wanted us to put down the deposit in one name rather than all of us saying the money, so we transferred Nadia the funds.
How much funds did you transfer then, 500?
So it was the first 500, and then after that I sent her $1,350 through PayPal because it was first and last month's rent.
So a total of $1,850?
Total of $1,850.
And then, so you sent that to her, and then as luck would have it, the other folks got it before you?
Yes, I have the text messages to prove it. So I went to the property manager's office because he said the check was ready. They said that Nadia had already picked up the check. So I called her, didn't get an answer. I thought, oh, she's probably busy working. And then, so I texted her, I said, hey, the property manager said they gave you the check. Is everything all right? And the evidence that I sent in that you have a copy of, there's a text of me saying, hey, I guess not everything's all right.
What did she do, just ignore you?
She just disappeared.
Run off with your money and disappear?
Yeah,
What's going on?
I never received a text, Your Honor. Should I start from the beginning, or?
Yeah. You guys found an apartment together, and what happened?
So Kyle had found the apartment, and then I went to look at it. We agreed that we wanted to get it. We found a third party for the apartment because we couldn't afford it on our own. I was not aware that another group of people had gotten the apartment. I knew that there was a rush to begin with, and that was why we collected all of the funds.
What was the rush for? Because you were competing with another group, right?
Right. I had known that there was that rush because we were competing. The realtor had let us know about that, but that was why we collected the funds as quickly as we could, and we sent over as much as we could as fast as possible. I had assumed that that meant that we secured the apartment, and I did not receive the text from the realtor saying that somebody else had picked it up. I actually received a text from Kyle saying that he had found another apartment with somebody else and that he decided to go elsewhere with this person, thus leaving me homeless because I was not able to afford this apartment on my own, and we had not met the third-party person who was from out of state.
Where were you living at the time?
I had actually just gotten out of a pretty extremely abusive relationship and was staying with a friend at the time on her couch, and I had done that for about a month and a half, and I wasn't able to stay there any longer, so that was why there was a rush for me to get an August 1st apartment.
So where did you end up living on August 1st?
My car, a few cheap motels, and just various couches that I could find. I actually just secured an apartment 2 weeks ago and moved into it.
Okay. Are you living with somebody else?
No, now I'm living on my own.
Okay. Where were you? So you just were going from hotel to hotel since August?
My car, usually.
And your car?
But yes, there were some nights that I spent in motels, and then other nights were spent on different people's couches. It was pretty much a hunt every night.
Do you work?
I do.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a food manager.
Why are you keeping his money?
I was not aware that he had contacted me, and I did not hear from him, so I thought that he was
You
leaving
think
it.
the guy's suing you for the money. You think that was his first choice, was to sue you rather than call you? But aside from that, why are you keeping his money?
So is it better to live on your own or with a roommate? What do you think?
I believe it's better to live on your own. You don't have to worry about, you can have your privacy and everything.
But you get lonely, right?
Yes, but you can invite people over and kick them out when you're ready for them to leave.
That sounds pretty loose to me, going inside the courtroom.
Why would you keep somebody's money that you got, that you know you got back?
Because he broke.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was under the assumption that we were under a verbal agreement, and he disappeared. As far as I was aware, my phone number never changed, and I did not receive a text or a call from him.
Can I see your phone?
Absolutely.
Can I see your phone?
Sure.
Just
Pull
let me know
up
when you have it.
text
Here you go.
messages that you have with him.
I don't have any text
Well,
messages.
I don't know
with
why,
him.
because I know that you had text messages with him when things were dreamy, right? They exist.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you erase them all?
No, I did not, but I did receive a new phone. I have the same number.
Well, then they should be there.
I don't have any texts from him.
But they should be there. When did you get a new phone? When you were living in the car?
Yes.
You got a new phone when you were living in the car.
Yes, I got a phone through insurance. Yes, I did.
When you guys are apartment hunting in July, you are asked at the very end of July whether there's any word from Matt. Who is Matt, the realtor?
Matt was, yes, the broker through
Okay.
the property manager.
And you ask, I still got to see Amy Winehouse. What was that?
A movie, a documentary.
Okay.
that was out.
Any word from Matt? No, ma'am. You answer, I'd assume we probably won't know anything until Monday. Your answer is true. Just stressed because my eviction note says I have to pay $4,800 if I'm not out by Saturday. So you still had an apartment on July 28th, correct?
I was living with somebody else at the time.
Well, you have an eviction. How do you have an eviction note if you're couch surfing? You have an eviction that says you have to pay $4,800 if you're not out by Saturday.
It actually ended up not being an eviction notice, and that was handled. That's a separate issue.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm asking you a very direct question. If you have an eviction notice that says you have to be, and you're saying I have to be out if I don't pay $48, it sounds like you're renting.
Your
Doesn't
Honor,
it sound like you're renting to somebody with connected brain cells?
I was not on a lease, Your Honor, nor did I get into the depths of the situation
Something will
with
come
Kyle.
together, even if it's last minute. He says things will work out for the best. And then he answers, hey, so an opportunity just sort of fell in my lap that's too good to be true and impossible to pass up. A girl at work found a place in Chelsea for incredibly cheap and asked if I'd want to go live with her. So I think I'm going to take her up on that offer. I know this is really, it's a bad word, time-wise, and I feel super bad, but there are still affordable 2-bedrooms on the property manager's website. And if you want to drop the third guy, I guess, altogether, I know of a nice place in Bushwick for $850 that I could set you up with. Your answer isn't, you jerk, you're leaving me hanging, I'm going to be homeless, I'm going to be living in my car. Your answer is, sure, I'll look at the place in Bushwick. Is it a 1-bedroom studio or room share? Good luck with everything. Room share. So when did this happen in response to, like, in terms of the timing, according to you, you received notice from the realtor that it's not going to happen.
You might have to scroll back a little bit. There's a screenshot of a text from Matt that says, okay, here's the situation, and he breaks it down for us so that since we had already submitted all our paperwork, we could hopefully...
Did he screenshot you before this, the Matt email saying you didn't get this apartment?
Your Honor, I honestly do not remember.
Well, that's very convenient, because I got to tell you, you're a really bad human being. You are. He's a nice guy. You guys were going to try to live together. He found something else. It was no skin off your nose at the time. And then all of a sudden, you get a check that's his money, and you are a thief. Why? What is your defense? He didn't call me? He didn't call me? Why don't you call him? You have $1,850 of his. Why don't you call him to get him his money back? Because you're spending it?
No, Your Honor.
Well, what did you do with his money? Where's his money now?
I saved it, Your Honor.
Oh, good. Do you have it in your pocket to give to him?
No, Your Honor.
Oh, well, then where is it? Where is it?
I moved
How
in-
is this, you know, like one thing is to fall on hard times, okay? And another thing is to make it someone else's problem that you fell on hard times. Falling on hard times happens to the best of human beings. Making your hard time another guy who's having a hard time his problem is a really bad mark of a human being. It's just really wrong for you to have kept that money. You have zero defense in this case. Zero. The fact that you guys can't find an apartment and it's already July 28th, the guy solved his own problem. You guys couldn't find an apartment. You know that Matt had already told you that this apartment, where this money belongs, had already fallen away. That means that the minute you got that check, it should have gone back to him. Welcome to New York. It's actually, that's untrue, because that's not a New York thing. This is an America thing. Everybody's in it for themselves, and it makes me sick, and I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. You have a lot of thinking about the kind of person you want to be, okay? Just because you need the money doesn't mean you should keep the money. That's the hallmark of who you're going to be. Pay this man back $1,850. I hope
you,
things are
Your
going
Honor.
better for you. Are you living in Chelsea?
I am.
Yeah, then they are. All right.
Well, the defendant's out here in the hallway now, and first of all, what's your thought on this?
I feel very badly for what I've done, and I agree with what Judge Millian said, and I'm sorry to Kyle.
Well, that's pretty disarming. Do you realize that it was stealing, right?
I do.
Right? And you realize he could have gone after you even criminally if he wanted to.
I do.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else to add here before you head around the corner?
No, that was it.
All
Thank
right.
you.
All right, thank you. I don't know. She just comes out and says, I'm sorry, I did this, and I'm all wrong and everything, but what do you see in her?
Just as Judge Millian said, she's a bad person. That's for her to fix. That's not my problem. I have my money back. It was a nuisance to get back, but I'm happy to have the opportunity to fix what was wronged and hope she figures herself out.
Okay. Harvey.
Okay, when you're in a dispute on text messages, by the way, texting back and stating your position is golden.